So having seen some of the introductory videos about Ajax, hopefully you've been able to install the Ajax Control Toolkit on your computers such that you should see in your toolbox something like this. There's my installation of the Ajax Control Toolkit, such that now you have the ability to add these new controls into your projects. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to try to do is to do a different view on the list of papers, but one which is going to be have an accordion control in it, which allows you to see just 1 week at a time. So you can click on week 3, and it'll kind of extend to actually show you everything in week 3, and then there'll be a heading week 4. You click on week 4, then you will see all of week 4's papers, but then week 3 papers suddenly become hidden, meaning that you only see 1 week at a time. Okay. That will involve using what is called the accordion control, which is precisely for breaking up a load of information into kind of discrete groups, which can then be seen on their own. And also I'm going to use the grid view control again to just show the contents, the list of papers in a week. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is create a new file. Okay. So add new item, and I'm going to call it. So this time, instead of being a web form, it's going to be an Ajax web form. Okay, and there's not much difference, to be honest. I'll explain them shortly. And I'm going to call it list papers by week. Okay, list papers by week. I'm going to click OK, and it's going to create that page for me. Now then, what it does is it creates this. If we look in the source view, we get this page. We get a page load JavaScript function. Remember, this is totally different from the page load function that is in the code behind. This is for the client side. This is just to allow you to add some extra kind of initialization code in the client or runtime. But very, very, very importantly, it adds the script manager. So for any sort of Ajax page, you've got to have this control in your page because all of the other components rely on it. Okay, so we've got that. We've got our script manager. Now then, what I'm going to do is put in now an accordion. Okay, the accordion, as I say, is basically kind of like something like a list box, but you click on one of the items, and then all the detail related to that item becomes visible, and all the details related to all the other items becomes non-visible. So let's drag into this page. We're just going to drag an accordion. Okay. So we drag an accordion. Now you'll notice what has happened. It's added my accordion, and also it has put here register assembly Ajax control toolkit at the top. Now that is very important because we have to register that toolkit before we can use it. So that it happens automatically the moment we've added an accordion into our source code. Okay. You might very possibly at this moment, although you're not seeing it from my demonstration, you might have seen a warning dialog come up saying, do you want the web config to change? And if it does come up, you say yes. Okay, so that's something to bear in mind. Okay, so now then, an accordion, okay, is made up of, it's a series of panes which inside and each pane is then there's another control called accordion pane. So what you have to write in here is panes. Okay, that will give you the panes section, and then it's inside the panes section. That is when you can put the other function, which is important here. With the other component is the accordion pane. Now I don't know, for some reason when I installed my Ajax control toolkit, they didn't come up in alphabetical order. I don't know why that is, but I mean ultimately it's a very small inconvenience that I'm having to suffer as a consequence. Okay, so what you get there is you get an accordion pane. Okay, and inside accordion panes you've got these two fields. You've got content and header. Header allows you to put in what is going to appear inside the thing that you click on to make it go down, and inside then there is a subsection content, which is the thing which will appear once you've added your which will appear once you've clicked on the header. So I'm going to just put something here just to show you how it works. Okay, so like A, I'm going to put the header A, and I'm going to put in the content I'm going to just type in a few little sort of BR tags here, just to make it a little bit bigger, the content, than the header. So there's my first pane, and now I'm going to add another pane. So I'm going to select all that, and I'm going to copy and paste it, and I'm going to do exactly the same again. So there's my header now. B, this is the next one, header. I'm going to type in B. Okay, and then in the content I'm going to type in B, B, B. Okay, and then in the third one, C, and I'm going to type in the content C, C, C. Okay, now then, so this is not going to be anything particularly exciting. I just want to show you now the principle of how it works. So basically, let's just go through it, the rules. You've got your accordion control. You've got your panes section, which is the whole of that. Inside each pane, there are a set of accordion panes. So there's one accordion pane. Here's another accordion pane. Here's another accordion pane. Inside those accordion panes, each one has a header, and each one has content. Okay, and that's really basically what an accordion is. So now, having done that, let's see what this actually looks like when it appears in the browser. Okay, so it'll appear in the browser. It won't be very attractive at all to look at, because there's lots of, you really need to put in some decent styling information in order to make an accordion look relatively pleasant. So now it's just going to, first of all, as I say, it's behind the username and password dialog, so therefore we're going to have to press that. So in order to get into the system, once we've got into the system, it should eventually show me, there it is. Now then, that doesn't look particularly good. You've got there A, okay, and then a B and a C. Now if I click on the B, now you'll notice the AAA has disappeared, because that's the content of the AAA tag, which is the default tag that's open when I first open the page. So now that's hidden, and so now I have a B header with the 3 B's of content. And then I click on C, and then I've got my C header, it appears, and I've got the 3 C's of content. So that's not particularly elegant, but you see the principle is now reasonably clear, I think. Now then, so probably what we can do at this stage is to put in some CSS, which will help us make a more kind of normal looking accordion. So let's now stop everything, and having done that, what we're going to do is we're going to bring the mobile standard CSS page into the page. So let's kind of like put that into the head. Okay, so there we go. Link href. Yes, there's our mobile standards.css. Now let's go into mobile standards.css, and let's add a section which will be for the accordion header, I think. So let's. I'm just going to copy and paste now something from another file rather than actually type it out bit by bit. So I've created this class accordion header. Okay, its color, meaning the color of the text, is going to be white. The background color is going to be blue, which is going to be of a bold font, and it's going to have a 1 pixel white border around it. Okay, so now having done that, I'm going to go back into list papers by week. Okay, and inside the each accordion pane, what I can, inside the, is it in the header? I'm not sure. Let's sort of click on the header and let's see what properties view, properties window. Okay, yeah, so yes, there's not much in the header. Okay, accordion pane, view properties. Okay, yes, accordion pane. Let's. Oh yes, header CSS class. That's the one we want. Header CSS class, and the term I created that is a thing called accordion header. Okay, so that's the CSS class for the accordion. Let's see if I can dock this in. No, it doesn't seem to dock. But anyway, there we go. So there's the the accordion header. Let me just check that is the right term. Accordion header, yes. Okay. So now, if I click on this papers by week, okay, I should be able to now see in this accordion panel. Well, it's only on the very first one, so I need to kind of apply that to all of the accordion pane objects in that page. So here it is. It's coming up hopefully soon. Okay, so now I now see the first one's got a nice header. Okay, but the other ones haven't. So now all we have to do, of course, is to go back into the code and put the correct CSS classes, header CSS class, in the other accordion pane. So I right click there and I choose header CSS class and it equals accordion header, and I do the same thing for the third one, header CSS class equals accordion header. Okay, so now what I should have is a page which is more or less acceptable from the point of view of look and feel in terms of how it implements the accordion control within the page. The next thing, of course, after this will be to put in some intelligent data in that page. Okay, so there's A, and so I click on now on B, so B appears, and I click on C. Okay, there's B and there's A. Okay, so for some reason the headers have disappeared. I don't quite know the answer for that now, but I'll leave that for a second before coming back to that. Okay, so we've got our accordion in the page. Okay, with more somehow reasonably successfully doing what it's doing. But what we want, instead of this kind of AA and BB stuff, what we want is something which will represent the weeks of the course. So we'll have one header for week 3, one for week 4, one for week 5, one for week 6, etc. Now, if I go into the design view of this page, I maybe should have stopped it before I do that. I mean, ever since I installed the Visual Studio Toolkit, I've never got the accordion to render properly inside the page. So just have to live with that for now. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put let's just now put a grid view on the page, which will eventually copy into the accordion. But because my accordion doesn't render in a design time quite correctly, I'm going to just kind of, on an empty part of the rest of the page, I'm going to put in a grid view. Okay, and then we're going to copy that grid view back into the accordion when we've got it working as we want. So I'm going to drag a grid view onto the page. Okay. As per usual, I'm going to choose my data source, new data source. I'm going to make it database. It's crossover 1, doesn't matter what it's called. It's going to connect to the mobile standards database. I'm not going to bother with saving the connection string. I'm going to now choose the papers and weeks query. Okay, and because I don't want to show really the abstract and stuff for this time, I just want to show the author, the title, and the number, the week number. Okay. And maybe I could show the hyperlink as well. Yeah, well, I'll do that. Author, title, hyperlink, and number. So now then, let's click on the next tool. Okay. No, before we do that, in this case, I'm just going to want to show from week 3 only. Okay. Now there does exist within this dialog also the ability to choose a actual criteria. So I've clicked on the where tool. I'm going to choose number equals source, and it says what kind of thing are you going to compare it against. I'm not going to say I'm going to compare it against none, because that means I'm not going to compare it against any particular variable in the page, but I am going to give it a value of 3. Okay, and then I choose add. Okay, where number equals 3. Okay, so I'm saying here now my query now is select all these things where the week is 3. Okay, now I'm going to click on next. I'm going to test query, okay, and ask me for a further okay, and then it gives me all the papers that occur in week 3. Okay, so that's kind of like done now. So now what we've done there, so we've created a data source on the page which will fill this grid view, and the data source is called data source 1. Okay, Now what we can do is, although that grid view is what shows the data, and the data source is where it gets its data from in order to be able to show the data. And as you see, if I now hide the toolbox and the Server Explorer and a little bit of the Solution Explorer, hopefully you can see most of that, this data source. So this data source has got this select command, it's got the connection string, and it's also got this parameter of default value 3 equals number, and that will be the thing where we'll fill into the SQL which says where number equals 3. So if you like, this data source 1, gives me all the papers in week 3. Now of course what we could do is just copy and paste this to do for the same for week 4, week 5 and week 6. So what I could do is I could rename this data source to be something like week 3, and and then what I can do is I can copy and paste this to create some more data sources. I'm going to do this I'm not going to do it for all 8 weeks. I'm just going to do it for the first 4 weeks. Okay, so there's week 3. Okay, data source. Okay, now I'm going to call this data source week 4, and I'm going to call the next data source week 5. And we'll call the next data source week 6. And in order to make sure that those data sources definitely return the papers pertaining to those weeks, I'm going to change the parameter. So here the parameter in the first case is 3, the parameter in the second case will be 4, the parameter in the third case will be 5, and the parameter in the fourth case will be 6. Okay, so now we've got, if you like, 4 data sources, with one which gives me all the papers in week 3, one which gives me all the papers in week 4, one all the papers in week 5, one all the papers in week 6. Now then, what I could do is copy this grid view in with its currently data source is equals, we have to rename that to be week 3. So we're saying that this grid view is going to be showing week 3's papers. But the same principle applies. I can copy and paste this into the various content sections of the accordion and then change the data source for each of the grid views. So I'm going to cut it from here and I'm going to put it into the content section of the accordion pane, of the first accordion pane. Okay, so then I'm in this first accordion pane, I've got all of week 3's papers showing. Okay, so I'm going to change the header of this accordion pane to week 3 papers. Okay, then I'm going to copy and paste another grid view into the next accordion pane. So I'm going to find the next content section. Okay, and I'm going to copy and paste. I'm going to paste now in another grid view. It's got a new ID, grid view 2. And I change the data source now to week 4. And of course, week 4 pertains to this, the week 4 SQL data source. Okay, so that's nice. Now let's find another ASP. Okay, good. So now here's another accordion pane, and there's another header, and here's another content. So I'm going to put into the content section here. I'm going to paste another grid view, and then I'm going to make it week 5. Okay, it's going to be, this data source is going to be week 5. Okay, so that is effectively got. So there's the first content filled with week 3. Then there is another one filled with week 4, and subsequently there is another one filled with week 5, and maybe I need to add another one to make week 6. So there's CC1 accordion pane here. So I'm going to do I need to copy and paste the whole of that accordion pane to create another accordion pane, and inside that the grid view is going to be called, it's automatically very nicely renamed itself to be grid view 4, and I'm just going to make the data source as to be week 6. So now what should be the case is that I have an accordion with the data for each of the 4 weeks, the first 4 weeks of the course in it. Of course, I mean, I could do all 8 weeks, but obviously it would just take longer to do the practical. And I think I'm getting over the principle rather than making an exhaustively correct website at this point. Okay, so here we go, papers by week. So now you see, there are week 3 papers. Okay, I should have changed the header, of course, for the other parts. Now I click on the B, and suddenly there are the week 4 papers. Okay, and then I click on the C. Okay, and then there is nothing in that one, and on the D there is 1 paper. So there's no papers in week 6. So I mean, I haven't completely done that correctly, have I? And there is still this problem of why the header CSS is losing its colour when I'm clicking on it. There will be a reason for this, but I don't know what it is, frankly. So anyway, so we're nearly there. Just as I say, what we need to do now is just make sure there are decent headers for each of the things. So there's header, the second header, week 4 papers, and then the third header should say week 5 papers. Of course, because I've done this kind of very quickly, I haven't implemented an occasion of when there are no papers, what the thing should look like. Okay, so we've got the accordion pane here, header CSS class. I'll just check if there aren't any other CSS, content CSS, CSS class, so content CSS. I can't believe that accordion header would be the same for that. I mean, I don't know if there's a general CSS class which I could just call accordion header. I don't know. I'm not sure whether that will just kind of ruin the whole thing. Okay, and make everything suddenly appear kind of like blue and white. Let's have a look. But I'm hoping you're getting. There may be something slightly I'm not quite getting about these header CSSs and everything. But I think you're getting the general principle. I mean, how easy it is now to write quite sophisticated ASP.NET pages, which in this case I've used no coding at all. There is not one line of code behind in this page, and yet I'm still managed to getting a very rich looking screen. And you see, for some reason I don't know why the header is changing its CSS each time it goes down, which I don't know the reason for that. But anyway, whatever. I mean, sort of like there you see. Anyway, that is how to use an accordion in a page. It can be very, if you've got a lot of complicated data, which, or if you've got, say, a page which has got lots of different types of data, often it can be bewildering to a novice user. And the human brain is not particularly brilliant at dealing with huge amounts of variegated data at once. And so something like an accordion can really help in terms of focusing the user's mind on particular areas of data and not stopping them from being distracted by other kinds of data. Okay, so anyway, I hope that's of some use. And now we'll go on to some more ASP.NET Ajax Toolkit